Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel here. I'm Jack Newton, and I'm here to give you once again on my reviews for the new Frankenstein movie, which has gotten selected releases in theaters, but it's actually out on Netflix right now. I personally got the chance to see this in the theaters. I got to see this in the iconic Rio Theater here in Vancouver, even though I live in Burnaby. But yeah, I was very excited to see this movie. I've always really enjoyed Guillermo del Toro's other movies, such as Hellboy, Pacific Rim, and I feel like a movie that is within the ideas of the classic original Mary Shelley's Frankenstein adaptation, or this here, the original 1930s version with the iconic Boris Karloff performance, and I feel like all the creative authorship that we've seen before for Guillermo del Toro's movies, for all of his creative sides, everything of this dark romanticism, the tortured monsters, the ability to look back upon humans and saying they're the original monsters of what we've seen before within his movies, but how it translates well into the writing of the original material. Now, granted, I haven't read the original Mary Shelley novel in over a few years now. I remember listening to the audiobook a few years ago as well. But yeah, for me, that was a few years ago. I remember listening to it as an audiobook and reading it. All that memory for me is just kind of gone by now, unfortunately. But for me, it wasn't just the experience of seeing this movie. It was the craft. It was the ideas behind it. So much within its narrative and everything that made it feel like a classic. Like within all these great isms that we see within Del Toro's movies of this tortured love, this tragedy of the monster, how it seeks upon the twisted ideal of humans, so much within the original craft at hand. That was a weird voice crack at hand there, but also Del Toro's resume. It feels like the idea of him saying Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was his, very much like his true essence of that's something that he personally always wanted to aim for. And man, do I feel like he really does deliver in my opinion, probably his best movie in over a decade. As much as I really enjoyed his Pinocchio movie and other various movies over the years, I don't think he's been as great. I don't think I'm gonna say it's great, because I thought his Pinocchio movie was really good, but I don't think any of his movies have been as great since 2016's The Shape of Water. And within that, I feel like I feel like every decade, like 90s, yeah, Corona, ever since a movie like of his earlier career, like Chronos and others, from going on with this into this movie and others, because of course his directed sequels and everything. But what really makes his adaptation of Mary Shelley's material at hand so good isn't just a classic essence of him being a classic romantic auteur, or in the sense of gothic language, or the craft, or the atmosphere. It's how he gets all that right, mixing together, but doesn't feel like it's spread too thin or whatever. This movie is a genuine feast for the eyes. This movie is spectacular to watch. It's beautiful. It's clever. The writing is very sharp. The cast is magnificent. You got Mia Wath. I mean, more on her in a minute or two. You got Christoph Waltz. You would oh my gosh, his name from Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones as the father of Victor Frankenstein. You got Victor Frankenstein being played by Oscar Isaac. You have Jacob Elordi, who I've known from other things before. Like, I remember he played the much more accurate, abusive version of Elvis Presley and in other shows and everything. But good God, is he tremendous in this movie. He has such a presence and a true sense of fear, but genuine sense of love and sentiments and awe and tragedy for his character. And like, and it might sound vague because I gave no reviews for any movies of last few years or whatever. Everything I love about this movie, I could take for the same arguments and everything and apply it for last year's Nosferatu remake. Everything all about that makes that movie great is the same one that makes this one here so good. Its craft, its haunting atmosphere, the cinematography is phenomenal. The last 30 minutes are something that I could just watch onto itself. The way it's just shot in so many moments. I love the production design, the way it looks. Del Toro has always been a phenomenal practical designer with a great romanticism, but how it pays into this classic, I'm going to say much more, it's more Victorian era rather than Edwardian era mix to it, and how he leans more into the Victorian era than Edwardian, at least in comparison as my knowledge knows for European history, for English history that is specifically. But how it gets it so creatively right within the depth and the writing and the ideals at hand and the performances. I loved Oscar Isaac as Dr. Victor Frankenstein. You believed in the arrogance, but the brilliance and the subtext within him and the writing there, and so much of that just felt so genuine and well realized. Like, yes, I do understand where he's coming from, but at the point where he mistreats the Frankenstein monster, and most reviews are getting this right here, how you understand the difference between Dr. Victor Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster. Frankenstein's monster really has no name. It's just referred to as a monster. And the way he just treats it is so disregarding and mean and horrible. And the way that's just creatively, narratively wielded within the movie as very much this craft in between of, bad father-son legacies in this, and how it's done so cleverly and so with such skill and beauty. I mean, there's times where you could say the movie's a bit too blunt about it, and that's fine. I think it really does make that work for what it's worth. 1 second. And more than anything, the movie makes it feel so contextualized and real, and there's such a depth of craft and beauty. And this movie, as I just said a few minutes ago, it's just a visual feast for the eyes, and I'm just stunned by how good this movie looks and how much on the subtext and the craft level. This is one of those, and the more I saw the Frankenstein's monster, the more I fell in love with it. Not just through performance, but through how he layers himself with material. There's the movie doesn't have a lot of action scenes, but the ones it does have are very good. I mean, for goodness sake, he literally skins off a wolf in a fight scene, and it's just holy hell. And I think most of the cast and the writing and all this is great. The movie, and it's definitely for me personally, a top 3 contender of the year. This movie does have problems. In the beginning half, in my opinion, in the first 75 minutes of the movie, there's a couple of pacing issues in my mind, as well as, and I don't want to, it's not the role of Mia Goth or the other actor who plays Victor Frankenstein's brother, but I didn't find myself, I wouldn't say I found myself not liking the romantic angle, but it's not the writing I had in my mind, but Mia Goth's character I found to be a bit I wouldn't say underwritten, but I don't think Mia Goth was the right cast for that. And I do think a movie like this that really pans at 2 hours and 30 minutes, it's a bit long for its own sake, and in a sense the pace at times can wear it down. I found it much more obvious in the first half, as well as Mia Goth being a bit miscast. As much as I don't mind her character speaking or whatever, I found her performance to be a bit flat. But overall, love this movie. I give it a 9.2 out of 10. Thank you for watching. As always, till then, everyone, thank you for watching. Cheers.